Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Easel Does It Studio Paintings. So we are going to do a black canvas one today, and this one is going to be kind of like a tropical theme, I think. So I'm just going to wet my mop brush and just squeeze the excess out. And I'm going to pick up some blue, and we're going to just start getting some blue in here. And this is going to be darker because of, that dark background. But now I'm going to go in and pick up some white, and we are going to brighten up our sky. Give it a kind of like a, I don't know, tropical, just bright, sunny. Because I want there to be a little bit of a contrast between our sky and our water. Just going to add a little bit more blue in here. I don't want to see the canvas underneath. So I've been playing around with the retarder that helps extend the life of the paint. I haven't used it in a while, so I'm just trying to get my consistency right, and then we will do a full tutorial on that. And just gonna add a little bit more right in here. And I'm going at an angle, so that just creates a little bit more of that movement in the sky. I'm gonna clean my brush off, get most of the water, and then I'm just gonna go back over adding a little bit more of that white. All right, so I'm thinking that's giving us a nice little sky color. All right, so I'm gonna go back into the primary blue, and we're just going to kind of get a little bit of like that horizon. All right, I didn't like my horizon line up here too much. There we go. And I'm just gonna rinse it out, squeeze it out, wipe it on my towel a little bit, and just kind of smooth that out a little bit. All right, I'm gonna let that dry before I mess with it too much. Like, I think that's okay. All right, now we're gonna continue and we're gonna get some of this darker blue. We are gonna brighten it up. I've got some turquoise and bright aqua green. On my palette here, so I just want that to kind of blend in to the sky. All right, let's just get some more of this down in through. And then I'm going to go back through and we're going to add some of the turquoise and the green. And I'm going to leave this bottom just because if I can get my perspective right, I'm going to put like a little tiki building out here. So if I can get it to have the depth that I want, then I'm going to put a little bit of sand down at the bottom here. And now I'm just going to go into that turquoisey aqua green color. And I didn't wash my brush. And I'm going to do just a smidge of white as we get down to this okay. So that gives me that nice kind of gradation that I'm looking for. So I'm going to wash this brush and we're going to put this brush away for right now. And I'm going to take my angled brush and I'm just going to wet it a little bit. And then I'm going to go into some of that turquoise, just the turquoise color. And just give like a little bit of that, you know, something's moving around out here. And I'm gonna go right to the edge, even though my my little tiki hut building's gonna come out this way. All right, and now I'm gonna rinse that, wipe my brush off, and we're gonna go into some of that aqua green. just leaving some light and some dark. Okay, I think that's looking good. Now I'm going to dry that real quick. And then I'm going to use my chalk pencil, or a piece of chalk. All right. So I'm going to take my piece of chalk. Can't find my chalk pencil. I'm thinking, did I put it in with my brushes? Probably did. I cleaned down here, so now I don't know where anything is at. Oh, well, we'll just use a piece of chalk. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. So I'm just gonna do like a basic like house shape for now, but this is going to be like straw. So I know there's going to be another leg in the back, you know, because this is gonna come down like that. So, and then we're gonna obviously have to put okay. Yeah, I'm liking that. All right, so that's what we're gonna start with. Obviously, we would have to have, I just don't know if I want the back post or just the front post. So I'm putting them in with chalk because then I can wipe them out. Let's see, we'll put a small one there, bigger one, small one, bigger one. And that way it's gonna look like we can look under the water, is the perspective I'm trying to get. And then we'll probably have another end one there. And all right, we'll see how it looks as I start getting this painted in. Oh, I just dropped my chalk. Let me see. Guess I'm gonna start with a round brush. I'm gonna go in with a dark brown on that because then I want to make the the straw. So I'm gonna mix up a little bit of the black and some brown and get like a nice dark brown. And I'm just gonna I'm just pulling in the direction that the hay or whatever is on these roofs would be going. And we're just going to color this in nice and dark, this whole top thing. And obviously we don't want it, you know, flat on the front. Because straw would not be, you know, even. And then we'll make that look like straw after. All right, I'm just gonna all right. And then I'm going to use the same darkness to put in our little poles. And the two in the back would be smaller than the front because they'd be more at a distance. So I'm trying to keep those thinner. Now I'm going to just start pulling some brown into that dark mixture. Because I think, you know, this would be wood. So I'm going to angle this up just a little bit. And then we're just going to color this in brown. So when you're painting in acrylics, you know, you have a little bit more versatility than, other than it drying, you know, super fast because it's acrylic. I'm gonna pick up just some black and add that to get my things underneath here. And I think we're gonna, I made that so it would be almost like wood slats going to it. So I'm gonna have to do something a little different with that. All right, so we're gonna, and I'm not too worried about, you know, where my chalk lines are because I'm gonna be able to wipe those off. And I'm gonna give a little something in the back. So right now I'm just trying to get my post, you know, whatever's holding up my walkway. All right, so yeah, I do need to add those little ones in the back. Okay, you know, and then once I get rid of all this chalk mark, it'll start coming together. All right. I'm just going to add a little bit more here get this filled in, and then I'm going to go into straight black on this little bottom section here. Add black into these legs. All right. Now I'm going to take a smaller, I want a smaller round one, but not like really, really small. Let's see if this one will work. So I'm going to take some white and some of that brown, and we're going to make like a medium kind of brown color. And trying to make it look like there's boards, but they're not like even. And if I don't like it, I'll just change it. Almost looks like but if I put railings on that, that would actually look like maybe the floorboards. I'm gonna try adding like a railing. All right, so this one we will bring down, and then a small one there. And I'm gonna bring that one down, and then a shorter one on that side. Bigger one here and a little one there. I'm just trying to break it up so that not everything is lined up in a row. And this side they would definitely be a little bit bigger. I'm just gonna fill that one right in. And we'll put a small one there. And another big one here. Okay. And then And then we will put okay, I can live with that. And then we can always go back and fix these little railings when we highlight them and all that good malarkey. Okay. So I'm just gonna take brown now and I'm just gonna run little, because this is going to probably be like a 3 or 4 step to get these you know, and on the outside it doesn't, you want a little bit hanging out to give it that you know, like it's hay. So this is like the second layer of the hay, because the more colors you can get in here, the more realistic that it's gonna look. Okay. Now I'm gonna go in with that lighter color and let's see, this is the brighter sky, so it would be coming this way. So let's just kind of give a little bit of a highlight on our boards here. And we will do the same on our little railing. And the ones in the water, I don't think I'm going to lighten, because they would be shadowed underneath the building. And then maybe just a little hint on this other side over here. All right. And I do want this bottom floor to be lighter, you know, because it probably has a light up in the top. Who knows? I'm just pulling that down. All right. And then I'm going to have some like palm needle things palm tree things coming out over here. And probably up in here. All right, so now we're gonna, let me add a little bit of yellow to that brown and give us a different color brown. And because you've got to definitely have your darker values in there. And you don't want to like cover all the dark, you know, and just pull in the direction that you think, you know, the hay would be. Now I got some thick brown right here, so I'm going to thin that out a little bit. Just short little pulls. Now, I've never seen one of these in person. I always wanted to, but I haven't. So this is just, you know, from what I've seen in pictures. All right, now I added a little bit of white and brown to that, and we're just gonna kind of go over it again. Just so it has multiple like colors going through there. And if you lighten a spot up too much, just add some more dark. Okay, I think that will work. All right, now. Just wet my finger, get that chalk gone. All right, now I'm going to take my same brush and we're gonna add in some of the watercolor so it's like underneath the board, but I'm looking for a smaller, a little bit smaller angled brush. If I've got one. Of course I don't. All right, so I'm just gonna go into that, the plain turquoise color. And we're just gonna give like some, you don't want to just put it there because you want it, you know, to look like the movement is like all around. And then I'm gonna wipe my brush, wash and dry it, and I'm gonna pick up that lighter aqua green color. And okay, that looks like it's setting in the water now. And all right, let's do some of the regular brown and white, and we're just going to put some like sand down in here. Let me just and then I'm going to go back over that with some of that watercolor. You definitely want to have some lights and some darks in your beach sand. Wet that just a little bit so that paint will move a little bit easier. And you see how I did that? I just put a thicker amount and then, but I didn't completely blend it in. And that's gonna kind of give us like a little bit of that wet sand. And now I'm gonna take some of the aqua and we are going to bring that into this sand color down in here. All right, and now I'm just gonna slowly get some of this lighter color kind of going through. Because I'm thinking in the tropics, towards the front would probably be much lighter than you know, than further out. I don't know. But in my little pea brain, that's kind of how I'm thinking that it would. All right, I'm just gonna wet my brush here and we're gonna see if I can smooth that out just a smidge. Definitely need a little bit more paint on here. It's almost like I'm trying to skimp on paint, and I'm not. And now I'm gonna start getting a little bit more of this. And I'm liking this color, so I'm gonna probably end up having to put my boards back over. just wetting my brush just so I can kind of pull some of that paint. All right, I think that's looking good. Once I put my little feet back on my building. All right, so I'm just going to make our little platform again. And I'm just using plain black this time. Yeah, you can't get the details with acrylics that you can in oils, but you can still make something beautiful. All right, now I'm just going to take that turquoise, and I just want to make sure that these little back feet are in the water. So we kind of got a calm sea today. So I'm just gonna make sure that these little feet are, you know, in the water. And I could even take a little bit of white and just kind of because there might be a little bit of movement underneath the little, and I am gonna do just a few little just want a really thin so we no longer have calm water. All right. I'm going to use this filbert brush. I'll make sure this is dry. And I'm going to just take some of that white and I'm going to thin it down really, really thin. And I'm just going to put it on the tip. And I'm going to try my best you know, just so it kind of looks like there's a little bit, and I'm just putting on the tip, and I'm going really thin. And then, let me get a little bit more of this green. I didn't know how much I wanted to use of this. Just kind of scumble some in. You know, it mixes with whatever white is still like on my brush. So it kind of gives that illusion that that water is being pulled back in. Okay, I'm thinking that looks okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to use the same brush. I want to touch up my sky just a little bit because I don't like some of the, you can see some of the canvas underneath. And I'm not liking that. So we're just gonna give it a little bit more. Maybe it can be, you know, a little wispy cloud, something. Just added some water just to my brush, just so we can blend that out a little bit more. So it just takes that paint, thins that down just a little bit. Because whatever paint is left in my brush will come off. There. Yeah, that gives us a little bit more movement in there. All right. Dropped my other paintbrush right in the paint, so let me wipe that off. So I've had a few suggestions from you guys, which is great. So I will be working on that here coming up. All right, now this area here looks kind of funky, so I'm just going to take all right. Every time I look away, I come back and I find something I don't like. So I'm going to take some green and black, and I'm using the angled brush, and I want there to be, let's see, because this is tropical, so obviously we want some sort of, and I'm just pulling on the edge of my brush. Just so it's on the edge of the, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I always have a hard time on one side versus the other. And I think this one we, would maybe see a little something on the other side. And all right, and wash this. And then we're going to pick up some yellow and green. And we are going to give some of these a little bit of a highlight. You know, we're just kind of adding another little dimension of color here. All right, I think we are almost ready to call this one a done painting. Let's put a little railing or something on here. just, you know, we don't want little people falling off our little railing. I'm just trying to give like another little bit of a little highlight. Doesn't have to be everywhere, but somewhere that the light is sparkling through. Oh, there we go. Just kind of gave that a little bit, I don't know, something. So yeah, I think we are gonna call this done. I'm just widen this board here a little bit. And I'm just gonna take and mix up a little bit more of that light sand color here, and just finish. I'm gonna go in with the black just because the brown just is not showing up. Yeah, I think that looks better. I'm gonna leave the other side the brown because it makes it look like it's further away. We'll put a little something there though. All right. So I am going to call this one a done painting. So this is an easy one, guys, that you guys can try. And let's see. I'm going to use the turquoise to sign my name. So I'm just going to thin some paint down. And that is our finished little painting. Now, I mean, you know, you can say it's done, but you could also, you could add some rocks or little pebbles or whatever onto your beach. But I'm just going to leave this one plain. Alrighty, guys. I will see you all on the next video. Bye, guys.